Welcome to the Atomic Impact Podcast. I am your host, Jason Osborn. And on this podcast, we interview successful business owners for them to share atomic, impactful lessons that they've learned throughout the course of their business and share them with us as well. As always, this show is sponsored by the LinkedIn Reverse Podcast Method, the new way to close deals that doesn't rely on any of the old traditional methods that everyone hates. We use this method to book 26 qualified leads and sales calls in 10 days without any ad spend, outreach, or endless social media posting. To generate leads on LinkedIn, you actually have to stop marketing on LinkedIn. Find out more, direct message me on LinkedIn to have a chat. That's Jason A. Osborn, and the link to that will be in the show notes below. On today's show, our special guest is Karl Jacobi. He is the owner of Success with Karl, providing performance coaching, speaking, and consulting. So, welcome to the show, Karl. And I want to start off with the question I always ask, which is this: if you somehow were able to go back in time to when you started your very first business, what's the number one piece of advice that you would give yourself?
Oof. First off, thanks for having me. It's an honor to be here, man. Appreciate the opportunity to impact your
Yeah.
audience. Number one thing is the belief in yourself. Oftentimes too many people seek validation, seek approval from external sources or people before they even remotely begin thinking about it or doing it. So the biggest thing is just believe in yourself. Don't seek for approval or permission or validation from anybody else. It's your dream, it's your vision. Go chase it.
Yeah, I love that. So here's the follow-up question then based on that. For people that are going, that sounds nice. How do you have that internal validation, that self-belief, particularly if they're
Mhm.
going, whether they're just starting off in business or as we all know, you know this as well, Carl. Once you've been in business, there's always challenges. There's always stuff that's coming
Yeah.
up. Your self-worth or belief may be impacted.
Yeah.
How do you stay true to that core without seeking that external validation?
That's a great question, man, because I suffered with that for a long time, always, seeking what I thought was permission or validation from other people. One of those was my mother. And what I later realized after 20 years of entrepreneurship is I never needed her validation. I never needed her approval or to hear the words, I'm proud of you, I love you, or any of that, because to the contrary, I've had negative programming. Programming meaning just stuff programmed to my mind that, I would not be successful. I would never amount to anything. I would just not be successful. We'll just kind of leave it at that. So that was a program I carried around for a long period of time. And that was a belief I had because, well, I must not have the nod from Gandorf, right? To be successful, that one little, I honestly thought you had to have that, that little
Yeah.
tap on the shoulder, like, okay, Carl, you can now go forth and prosper and be successful.
Mm.
And so, my in my experience, and not just in my own life, but others that I work with, is taking that first step, right? And when you feel that nervousness, when you feel excited, but you're scared and so forth, that means you're going in the right direction. Oftentimes, too many people they get that friction. They feel like, oh, this is bad. Like friction is bad, adversity is bad, obstacles is bad. No, it's just it is just your test to see how bad it is that you want that vision, how bad you want that dream, that hope, that aspirations, right? And as long as you perceive that, you just take one step. Oftentimes, the next step it will be revealed. And as long as you stay true to that, you will you the results will be inevitable, right? It may not be in a month, it may not be in 6 months, it may not be until 2 3 years, and that's often the hardest part because we live in this instant gratification world, right? You look at everything we get exposed to, whether it's Amazon, it's Walmart, it's Netflix. You put in your 50 cents, metaphorically speaking, you get your instant results. And somehow, especially the younger generation, we have gotten to the mindset of like, hey, I'll put in 8 hours of grind, pinky up while drinking Starbucks. And you're thinking the next day or two, they're going to see results. And quite frankly, too many people, they quit because they don't see that. Had they just pursued, you know, just keep chasing down for 6 months, for a year, they will start to see results. No different than going to the gym, right? is literally no different. That's why I see a lot of athletes that really, carry that same level of dedication into their business, into an entrepreneurship, or into any area of their life. They're a heck of a lot more successful. Why? Because they carry that same level of discipline, right? They carry that same level of grind, that same level of discipline where they knew that if they go to the gym today, they're not going to see the fruits of their labor until 2, 3 months, maybe 6 months, maybe a year later, right?
Yeah.
And so for those that are listening, if that's you, just take that one step because oftentimes the next step is not going to be revealed until we take that first step. Once that we take that first
Mm.
step, the next step will be revealed. And I call that the foot lamp perspective versus the flood lamp, right? Because
Yeah.
most of my life I had what was called the flood lamp perspective. I thought I had all the plans laid out. Like I knew exactly where I was going to go. I knew what I was going to do and so forth. And, you know, I'm a man of faith. I like to, I proclaim pretty, profoundly that I'm a Christian and so forth. And I come to a point where in my life I felt like God was closing the doors on some chapters. Like, hey, I've allowed you to live this life for this long. Now it's time for you to actually go out and impact and chase down your dreams and visions. And I'm only going to give you the first step, right? I'm only going to give you that first step. And once you obey that, once I trust that you can take that first step, then I'll reveal the next step. And so that's the flood lamp versus the foot lamp perspective. That I've really had to listen and just listen, listen and just take that first step. Do it scared, do it afraid, but do it.
Yeah, yeah. Great stuff there, Carl. I love that analogy. And I've heard it expressed different ways, but having that foot lamp versus that foot lamp, I think it's just a great visual representation
Yeah,
of what we need to do sometimes. And it is oftentimes just taking that first step. You don't know exactly what's going to come next. And I think that's part of the learning journey as well, because
100%.
if we did see everything ahead of us, we probably wouldn't start to begin with. you
Yeah,
know
that's
so
exactly right. Yeah.
yeah. Well, speaking of all of that, one of the other questions that I like asking, and I'd be interested to hear kind of along that perspective, what you were talking about, foot lamp, flood lamp element of it is that when you're in over the course of your business, what's one of the biggest challenges that you've had in your business? And
Mm.
what did you learn from that?
The biggest challenge, especially as an entrepreneur, was scaling, right? Getting out of my own way. That was the biggest challenge for me was to get out of my own way, surround myself with people that are smarter than me. You've heard the phrase, if you're the smartest one in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And the same goes with entrepreneurship and business ownership. You've got to surround yourself with people that are smarter than you, that are gifted and talented in areas where you're not. And that's that, dude. You look at any successful entrepreneur, business owner, they did just that, right? They remove themselves out of the equation as soon as practical, right? Not as soon as possible, but soon as practical. And then trust and verify, right? Trust but verify and just
Mm.
surround yourself with the right people and get out of your own way. We oftentimes have this control mentality, like I've got to control the process, I've got to control everything around me. And at the end of the day, and you're going to burn out, right? Your business is going to be stifled based on your ability to show up, and you're eventually that only runs for so long. Once you run out of that espresso, you're toast.
Yeah.
And so that was the biggest thing that I learned in my entrepreneurship journey was, to remove myself, get out of my own way, let people who could flourish, and just make sure I put the right people in the positions to allow them to flourish, right? And when I did that, things started to change for me, not just from a time freedom perspective, but freedom of energy, also to expand on my leadership abilities, my leadership skills because we're not all born leaders, right? Some of us have the more innate ability to lead, but all of us have some grooming to do to be leaders. And so, from a leadership perspective, that really helped me as well. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, delegating, getting out of your own way was the biggest thing that I learned.
Yeah, yeah. That one key phrase, just learn how to get out of your own way, is just game changing.
It is, yeah,
Yeah.
simple, isn't it? But it's so freaking hard.
Most of the things are, aren't they? It's like
Yes, they
the
are.
people. I always find it really funny, and I struggled with this when I was younger. I probably still do, I guess, in some ways. But when you just think success is harder than what people tell you it is,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
they like. I remember when I was in my early 20s, and I would ask people who were really successful, like, what's the secret of being success? And they would just give me something simple, and I was like, yeah,
That,
come on, but tell me what's really like. That's too easy, and I'm like, that's it.
yeah.
Like, so it is absolutely true. You know, it's just the simple things make the biggest difference.
Yeah.
So yeah,
It's
yeah.
simple, but it's not easy.
No, no, it's that as you said, that the consistency around that, just taking
Mhm.
that one step at a time, trusting that foot lamp, as you say, as you're moving
Yeah.
forward with things. Absolutely, absolutely. Well, over the next couple of years, like, what are your goals with your business? What are you wanting to achieve?
That's a great question, and for me is to impact as many lives as I possibly can, right? Helping as many corals as I possibly can from the perspective of, I spent almost 25 years, well, 20 years grinding, or 25 years grinding as an entrepreneur, but 20 of those years grinding for the wrong reasons,
Hmm.
right? Grinding because they're trying to fill this void internally because they feel like they've got to prove somebody wrong in their life because they told them they would not be able to do something, whether it was to build a successful business or to be successful relationships or finances or health, whatever. The list is a plethora of it, right? But so my mission is to help identify as many Carls as I possibly can and change their perspective where, dude, it sounds cliche, but man, if I can rise to the occasion, if I can change my life, change my perspective, and realize the only person I've got to make proud is the person I see in the mirror every single day, man, everybody else can too. It's again what we've been saying. It's simple, but it is not easy because it's a different type of programming. We have to do things differently. And oftentimes that makes our brains freak out, it makes our heart, our bodies, it freaks us out, right? Because we're installing new programming. So for me, man, it is to impact as many people as I possibly can, either through one-on-one group coaching, or just public speaking, get in front of people and just to speak life into people. So
Yeah,
that's my main mission, man. Because just in my experience, especially in today's times, I'm realizing there's a lot of people that are suffering from this. And what's ironic, we think we're the only ones, right?
yeah,
We tend to think we're the only ones that suffering like this. We're like we're broken. There's something wrong with us. Nah, it ain't you, bro. It's everybody, right? Some shape or form. And the thing is, we just have to acknowledge it. And realize, and it's not our fault, but it is now our responsibility to change course, right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
that's my mission, man.
Love it, man. I love the vision that you have. Such a great one. And
Thanks.
for people that are wanting to find out more about what you do, what's the best way for them to contact you, Carl?
Yeah, LinkedIn is probably one of the best ways. I know you like to leverage LinkedIn a lot. So for me, LinkedIn or Facebook, I'm an older guy, so I still use Facebook as one of my primary means. Just look me up, Karl Jacobi. Just put a J in the middle. Or else you can hit up my dad, which I'm sure he wouldn't mind the love, but he might get a kind of like, why am I getting a lot of traffic all of a sudden? Um,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
yeah, just look me up on Facebook or LinkedIn. Yeah,
Amazing, amazing. Well, definitely everyone go check out Carl. And listen, man, it's been great having you on the show.
appreciate
Some
it.
really great pearls of wisdom in there that you've shared. And as a reminder for everyone listening, this show is sponsored by the LinkedIn Reverse Podcast Method, the new way to close deals that doesn't rely on any of the old traditional methods that everybody hates. To find out more, direct message me on LinkedIn. That's Jason A. Osborne. And the link to that will be in the show notes below. But until next time, stay inspired.